Welcome to Purpose After Sports, where we interview athletes to share their post sport journeys and explore how they are reinventing what it means to compete. Today, we have the one and only Bailey Ortega. She she is a former LSU volleyball player, and her family grew up in sports, so it is just natural to her. She knows the grind inside and out. At LSU, she wasn't just making plays on the court; she also had her own podcast sharing athlete stories. And now she's navigating life beyond the game. So we are going to talk about it all. We're talking about the wins, the struggles, and what it really looks like to build a new path. Bailey, the floor is yours. Welcome on.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. This is a long time coming. I'm so hyped.
It is, it is. Her energy, you guys need to find her on social media. It's just exhilarating. You just want to be next to Bailey. So we're excited to get to know her a little bit more and talk about her journey. Are you ready, Bailey?
Yep, it's a lot to unfold. Let's get into it.
So, like we talked about in this intro, you grew up in a sports family. How did that shape your identity early on? Did you feel any pressure or pride to kind of follow in the footsteps? How did that come about?
Yeah, so my older brother, it's 6 years older than me, I think. You didn't know that by now. He's old.
He is
So,
older.
he growing up, first of all, he's my best friend. I was the best man in his wedding, and like we are
Stop.
the bestest of friends. Um, didn't really fight much growing up. Like everyone was like, "What the heck?" And we were like, "No, we're best friends." So,
Yeah, yeah.
growing up, he played basketball and baseball. So I was either like in a gym or at a ball diamond all weekend. And I actually grew up dancing and was like on the musical side of things.
Okay.
So, but I danced and I also played basketball. Basketball was kind of my thing, my first gateway into sports. So
Yeah.
I tried softball and all this, but basketball was my thing because I could always go to the gym with my brother. So, like,
Ah.
we would hop in and go to the Y, we'd shoot around. All of his buddies would call me Little Blaine because I'd always be there just standing in the corner shooting. Like, that was kind of my thing with my brother and I. And I was the little girl that was in the stands at the high school games, like hanging out with the cheerleaders and cheering them on and like face paint all over. So, like, trying to be in the student section, like, I have always been that person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, sports was just it was always a part of my life. There was never a time
Mhm.
I can think of sports not being in my life, whether I'm watching, whether I'm trying to participate or I am playing. Um, it's just kind of always been there, and I think naturally as the younger sibling, like, you kind of have the footsteps of your older sibling to follow in, whether it's sports or not,
Yeah.
and my brother was like I mean, he's just an incredible human, like, I love him, but great at basketball, had a crazy vert, went to state for baseball, and also was, like, super smart. He's a doctor, like, all these things, and I was just like, "Oh, snap."
Yeah, yeah,
Really setting the standard high for me.
yeah.
Um,
Right.
but I think my love of sports just came from, like, it was an opportunity for me to hang out with my brother,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when he was in high school and whatever, and we would sit at home and then we'd go outside and we'd play basketball outside, and it was just kind of our thing, and I think that's what made me fall in love with sports in the first place was the connection and the people aspect of it, which still,
Yeah.
like, rings true today. But I felt like I didn't have that in dance, which dance is just a whole that's a whole 'nother conversation. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I found that in basketball with my brother and then ended up finding volleyball, but again, sports has been so intertwined in my life, and I think the beginning of my, I guess, identity in sports, first it started off as like, "Oh, I'm Blaine's little sister, and I'm
Yeah,
little
yeah.
and I'm kinda whatever." And then I felt like because I played basketball for so long and because I was kinda reaching a point of burnout, like, I was at the point of playing basketball for, I think, 6 or 7 years when I discovered volleyball, and so
Wow.
I was kind of at a point where I was like, "I don't think I can picture myself playing basketball forever because 'cause I'm kinda burnt out." Like, my brother went and played basketball in college at an NAIA, and I was
Yeah.
like, "This just doesn't feel like it's my thing." Like, I feel like I'm just trying to follow Blaine, and I've lost that love.
Yeah, yeah.
So, found volleyball, felt like it was my thing, and
Mhm.
took off with it, and I feel like finding volleyball was kind of when I started to find my identity in sports on my own and not attached to my brother. So,
We have to dive into that because rewind, rewind. First of all, okay, so basketball for quite a long, and then you just randomly picked up a volleyball, or like how did that get introduced in your life?
yeah, so we had volleyball, like, in middle school and the, like,
Okay.
school ball, whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
my first year of, like, club volleyball, like, I was like, "Oh, I'm actually learning the game, like, not just rotating, messing around in middle school,"
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
was my freshman year of high school. And that was when I actually, like, got into volleyball, learned the game, started traveling,
Wow.
playing tournaments. So, that was really when volleyball started for me. So, yeah, it was I definitely came to the game pretty late compared to other people. Um,
And look at your accolades. Wow, that is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it was one of those things where, like, I'll always carry basketball with me, so it's so
Yeah,
weird. Like, I played basketball all throughout high school, I played travel ball, I did all of that, but yeah, volleyball, I think, again, I looked at volleyball as it was so new and I felt like my ceiling was so high. I feel like with basketball, I had such bad habits because I had been playing for so long and I was getting
yeah.
burnout and I was just kinda getting tired of it. Um, so yeah, volleyball was just this new thing that I felt like could be my own and I could just run with.
So, what, with being a little bit of a late bloomer in volleyball, was everything sped up with recruiting and deciding, hey, I want to continue this sport in college? Like, how quickly did that all feel?
Yeah, it was I would say the process was sped up more, like, I had 7 years to develop all of the nitpickies of basketball,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
had a couple years to develop the nitpickies of being a setter, which is very nitpicky.
yes,
So,
yes,
I felt like my training and a lot of that stuff was sped up, so I had to put in way more time, like, I was in the gym at all hours you can think of, at all.
yeah,
So that was kind of its own thing. The recruiting piece, before all these rules came about, like the June 15th or whatever, we didn't have that. So I had 8th graders that were committing to play Division 1 when I was getting recruited. So I
yeah,
came and I was like, all these girls in my grade are already committed or they're already doing whatever. And I don't think these coaches even know I have touched a volleyball. Like, I don't know
yeah,
how I'm going to compete. So, yeah, the recruiting process didn't really start for me until I'd say like my sophomore year. I started to get some interest and getting noticed and kind of realized like, oh, I could like play Division 1 volleyball. Um,
yeah,
that was kind of like, oh my, this is great. This is fast. Like it was nuts. And I constantly just I felt like I was behind. So, like, the process was
mm,
fast, but I just constantly felt like I was playing catch up, which in a way for me, like, I love the whole underdog mentality and kind of
yeah,
it fuels my fire. So for me, it motivated me to get in the gym. It motivated me to get better and all those things. So I think it was a good thing for my career as much
yeah,
as struggled and it kind of stunk in the moment. But yeah, I ended up committing to Iowa my junior year spring. It was like May of my junior year. And Iowa was my first Power 5 offer, and
yeah.
I was a walk-on, and I jumped at the opportunity the minute they offered me, and then it was funny, after I had committed, I started getting these letters from, like, these big time schools, and I was like, "Ooh, like, I
Mhm.
woulda loved to wait a little bit longer," but I'm also a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, but yeah, it
Yeah.
was recruiting process was felt very behind, and it was so stressful because everyone else was already done, and I was like, "Hey, I'm new."
I still would like to go and play in
Yeah, I
college.
still would love to play wherever it may be, but, like, just give
Yeah.
me a chance.
Give it some time, give it some time.
Yeah, I promise my ceiling is very high, I have lots of room, like, just coach me
Just
up,
stick
we'll
with
be
me.
fine.
Stick with me.
Yes. See the potential here, coach.
So you get to Iowa. Talk to me about that jump to that big of a school, that big of a stage. What were some highs and lows?
such a fun time in my life. So, I kinda going back to basketball. So I played basketball throughout high school, and my senior year rolls around, I commit to Iowa, and they want me to graduate early. So I end up graduating. This whole turnaround is just adds to the craziness of my life.
Yeah.
I graduate from high school, like, January 15th of 2020 is my
Okay.
last day of high school. It's my last finals. January 17th, I move into my dorm. January 18th is my first day of college. Um, so on my first day of college, when I was sitting there and we're doing the icebreakers and like a fun fact, I say, I
Yeah.
graduated high school 3 days ago. And everyone's like, I'm like, yeah, that's me. So, I was up at Iowa, and 3 days later, I was training and living in a dorm and going to college classes. And the reason I had graduated early was because obviously the coaches said that it would be best for me being a setter to come in the spring and learn the system, get used to college life, all those things. So then, um, I decided not to play basketball my senior season, which was, like, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Had to have that conversation with my coach who I love and I just adored, and my team that I loved, and I thought we were gonna go to state and all these things. So I had to
Yeah.
decide not to do that. The main reason, though, aside from getting there to learn the system, was that summer, we were supposed to go on a foreign trip to Brazil and Peru as a team.
Mhm.
And I was like, it was gonna end up being during graduation. So they were like, "You need to graduate early if you wanna come on this trip and train with us." So I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, let's do it." So graduated early. I get 2 months of normal college life, and then the pandemic hits. So we go home for spring break,
Oh my gosh.
and we're told we get brought in the locker room, and it's like, "Hey, the Brazil and Peru trip has been canceled." And I was like, well, all my friends have been back living their high school life and senior year and all the fun things and playing basketball. So I get this news and I'm like, whew, okay, great. And then
Yeah.
obviously we go home for spring break and don't come back. So that was my freshman year. Um, was a whirlwind, obviously. Everyone knows how tough the pandemic was, but I
Yeah.
didn't get a high school graduation. I didn't get a senior prom. I didn't get any of that stuff, not just because I had graduated early, but also because of the pandemic. So that
Right.
transition alone was really, really tough. And then going into freshman season, my freshman season was played in January 2021 because the Big Ten played their fall seasons in the spring that year since we didn't play fall 2020.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So then, as a walk on, not expected to play and just expected to learn and absorb her freshman year,
Yeah.
ends up becoming the starting setter her freshman year because of the pandemic and seniors deciding they don't want to play and yada yada. So January 2021 rolls around. I'm now the starting setter as a freshman walk on who was not expecting this. We play January to April or whatever. And
Yeah.
then my sophomore season starts in August of 2021.
So right back in it.
So I didn't have a spring. I never really had a full spring to develop until after my first 2 seasons of college volleyball were played. And that goes for basically every athlete in my grade that played Big Ten volleyball that year. We never got a spring. Like, we had the fall of
Wow.
2020, but, like, we
Right.
didn't
Right.
really. So that whole, like, year or 2 of my life was the most, like, blink of an eye, craziest thing. So much happened that I would have never expected, and it was a whirlwind. It was wild. So lots of highs and lows packed in that time period.
If you guys are not watching this, just know I'm making a ton of facial expressions because I can't. I can't keep up. This is crazy. What okay, so what do you mean you go for a walk on and now you are starting like talk about like stay ready. Are you faking it until you make it? Like, do you think you're ready for this opportunity? What is going through your head?
Yeah, I definitely did not think I was ready for the opportunity, and
Yeah.
I mean, I was told that I was gonna get to sit and learn, and I was so excited to just be a sponge and absorb everything and, like, so ready for that, and then
Yeah.
to be told that I am I'm on the shorter side of a setter already and that I'm now running the offensive system in a Big Ten program, and I was like, "What are we talking about?" Um, and, we also went through some coaching changes, so the coach that I had committed to Iowa under was no longer there, so I had a new coach that I was
Okay.
also learning, and, um, it was yeah, I did not think I was worthy of that at all and felt like it was a mistake, and I relied a lot on the external validation of my teammates, and
Mm,
I think that went both, like, for the positive and the negative side of things. So, I think external validation and, like, praise from people starts really young with sports, so I
mhm.
just carried that up into being in my freshman year, starting when I didn't think I was going to. I relied so heavily on the seniors and the leaders of the team and looked at them to give me the, like, "You can do this. We believe in you. We love you," like, all that stuff,
Yeah.
and it really helped me. But then my freshman and sophomore year especially, when they didn't give me that and they were upset or I didn't play well and I could see it on their face or I could see them whispering to the team about it or whatever it may be, it, like, hurt me bad. And the bad part
Yeah.
of that is they could be whispering about the boy they're texting, and I thought
Right.
it was about me and made it all about me, and it was like, just I went through immense waves of imposter syndrome, and I
Yeah.
still deal with that, and it was just such a so many things encapsulated that time in my life, and it was so tough for so many reasons, but I just had no confidence, did not believe I deserved to be there or should be there, and was like, "This is a fluke, and no one thinks I deserve to be here either. Everyone thinks I'm gonna fail." Like, I have people to this day that come up to me and say, "Bailey, you know, in high school, no one ever thought you'd have the career you did." To this day, I have people come up to me and say like, "Man, no one ever everyone was shocked when you committed to Iowa, no one thought you'd do what you did." And I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Am I supposed to say thank you?" Or am I supposed to be like, "Yes."
Was I supposed to hear
I know, I'm like, "Is that a
that?
compliment?" I don't know how to feel, but, like, genuinely the story of my career is no one, not even myself, expected that of me, but my parents did, and I had
Yeah.
a few coaches that did, and I had a few teammates that did, and I think that is what got me to where I am, is I relied a lot on other people, which again can be a great thing at times, but a really bad thing at times.
Oh, 100%. And I wanna talk about 2 things in there because not moving too far forward with, former athlete life, but
Yeah.
I talk about that so much is you're constantly getting that. And and it's like somebody counting on you.
Mhm.
And it feels so good and people are cheering you on. And then you get into former athlete life and you feel like nobody's counting on me anymore. And
Yeah.
that feeling is like detrimental. Like it should feel good. You feel like it should feel good. You're counting on yourself and all that, but it's not the same. Like I'm not fighting for a goal with anyone or no one's counting on me to do good or get in the gym and better myself anymore. Now it's up to you. So
Yeah.
also, you mentioned still kind of dealing with the confidence stuff. Were you able to flip that switch in college of, okay, I know I have to come to this moment. I am who I've worked hard. I deserve this moment. When did that confidence start to kick in or did it not?
I think it started to really kick in, like, after I got through my freshman year and my
Yeah.
freshman season, um, it started to kick in, and I started to really realize the role that my mental health played,
Yeah.
and, uh, I struggled, in sports in general since I was a kid, like, being the biggest perfectionist and the hardest person on myself you could think of, to the
Yeah.
point where when I played basketball, which this is crazy, I don't know if I've ever talked about this. When I played basketball, if I would miss a shot or play bad or do whatever, I would literally scratch myself to the point where I had, like, bruises of lines down my arms and my legs as, like, a punishment of, like, "You missed a shot. You missed this whatever, you didn't get this steal," and it was brutal, and that was how hard I was on myself, and that was really the first time that I had seen it physically on myself.
Mhm.
There's so much that happens mentally that you don't even think about, but that was the first time I could see with my own eyes, like, you are so mean to yourself. You are so
Yeah.
awful and hard on yourself. And like my my basketball coach who I said I loved and I wish I would have played for my senior year, he was really the first. I don't even want to say the first, but he was the first one to get through to me.
Mm.
He was like,
Yeah.
"Look at what you're doing." And he's like, "You're a fantastic basketball player," and all these things. And again, like there goes the external validation, but that was kind of the moment for me where I was like, okay. Then I went into volleyball. I didn't really have that coach anymore. I had all these things come through freshman season. And as
Yeah.
I started talking to a lot of my teammates, they were like, you gotta start getting this stuff yourself. Like you need to go see someone, you need to go talk to someone. Like I got told about our sports psychologist or whoever it was. And I
Yeah.
remember my freshman year, I went to the sport psychologist that we had. And I remember I was sitting there and I was like, this isn't helping me. Like this is stuff that
Mm.
has told me already that I can find on social media, that I can see on a Pinterest board. I was just like, I'm not really getting anything.
Yeah.
And then after my like sophomore season or maybe it was even during my sophomore season, I don't fully remember when I started, but then we got a therapist. And
Mm.
I got to sit down and actually talk about my life and my emotions and all of these things and not just volleyball related. Like when
Yeah.
sports psychologist, it was also volleyball related. And I was like, man, this runs so deep. Goes so far back in my life. I feel like it can't just be volleyball. Like this
Right.
goes back to basketball. This goes back to dance. This goes back to so much stuff that I had never unpacked before.
Mhm.
And that therapist, his name was Tanner, like I was with him for I think 2 years at Iowa and changed my life. Changed
Wow.
my life. Like, it was the craziest roller coaster of emotions to even sit in therapy. I remember
Yeah.
when I sat down with him. The first thing I said to him, he's like, "So, you're here. Really proud of you. Like, happy you're here." He's like, "Why?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, I feel like I don't need to be here. My parents are together. My family's alive. I'm alive. I'm healthy. I'm living my dream. My life isn't that bad. Why am I here? I don't get it."
Yeah.
And he's like, let's unpack that." I was like, "Here we go. Here we go." Um, but talking with him was where I really started to unpack like my perfectionist and my imposter syndrome and my performance anxiety and all these things that I had never really put a label to and started
Yeah.
to articulate feelings and emotions that I could never describe and that are still hard to describe. Um, but yeah, that this is a whole long-winded way to talk about my first. I have like 15 tattoos now, all very tiny. The first tattoo I ever got
Love.
was on my hand and it's worthy. And this was my
Wow.
first tattoo I ever got, and it was obviously when I'm a setter, I look at my hands all the time. Granted, it's upside down when I do that, but it's fine. But that was my first tattoo I got because that was the first word, like, that stuck to me in therapy was, "I am worthy. I am worthy of all of these opportunities. I am worthy of being the starting setter at Iowa. I am worthy of getting on a full scholarship," and all of these things, and worthy was just, like, the word that really started to positively impact my mental health, and kinda took off from there, but going to therapy was definitely the direction that it was the first step that started to set me off on my mental health journey actually going positively.
Thank you for sharing that with our audience.
Yeah.
I needed to pause for a second because that when it's so deep, right? I'm stuttering, I'm lost for words because it's such a common thing when people are struggling, maybe even someone can't see it, is you have those thoughts in your head. I have all these good things going in my life. Like I'm not as bad as, somebody else who might need it more. Or, they have it way worse in their life than me. Why am I still struggling with these? I don't need that help. Like
Yeah.
someone else needs it more. I don't
Yeah.
deserve that help. And for you to still be brave enough to do that and kind of candidly say it in therapy. And he was like, all right, he's ready for it. He's like, all right, let's sit down now.
Yeah.
Okay, now
"How do
that you
you
got that
validate
out.
your feelings?" And I was like, "Oh, wow."
He's like, now that you got that out of the way, let's dig in, you know?
Yeah.
And props to him too for not just letting you skate off and be like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I really do you sharing that because for people that, you know, may be a little bit timid to stepping into that, like, it's okay if everything in your life is right. And maybe you just need someone to talk to or just
Yeah.
listen. Like, there are so many different forms of therapy types, help
Yes.
people to reach out to. So, woo-wee.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
It's a lot.
Really? You're gonna make me emotional on this podcast, all right?
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of emotional, that was, I would say, the biggest hurdle that I dealt with in therapy was
Yeah.
I am one of those people where if I see a grown man crying, I'm sobbing. If I watch Big Hero 6 with my dad, we're both crying.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I am just when I would be in practice and they'd tell me I have to set 50 balls into the hoop and I set 42, I'm crying. I'm, like, angry, so mad I'm crying. Like, crying is always an emotion that is kinda one of my top emotions, one of the top things I do to express my emotions.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember, like, coaches and teammates and would get so mad at me, and I'm
Mm,
weak, and I can't handle it, and I need to suck it up, and yada yada. And in therapy was when I started to realize it's not necessarily a bad thing. And
no.
being emotional is a gift and it's a beautiful thing that I feel so deeply and that, like, when I get mad, I don't wanna punch a wall, I wanna cry. Like, that those emotions, like, some people shut down, some people get quiet, some people yell, some people do whatever, and for me, my almost go-to was always to just cry. And
Mhm.
I always felt like I just stowed all those emotions away because I was told I was weak and to suck it up, and she just always cries and she's whatever. And then in therapy, he was like, "Wait a second. Like, this is okay. This is a beautiful thing. And this is like, if you don't want to cry, we can figure out how to handle it and turn it into a different way of expressing your emotion." But that,
Yeah.
like, the biggest thing for me was being emotional and feeling things and expressing your emotions in a certain way is not a bad thing. And
No.
you can learn how to deal with it and you can learn how to move past it and feel everything in a better way. But uh,
Yeah.
that was kind of, I think that is one of the toughest things in sports is asking for help and talking about your emotions and crying and whatever is weak and you're
Yeah.
these things and you need to suck it up and figure it out. And I think that the strongest thing that I ever did in my college career was go sit in that therapy room and come back and
Right.
continue to come back every week. So, yeah, little soapbox moment.
No, I love it. I'm like, if you want to keep talking, baby, let's keep talking about it because I could talk all day about that subject. Like,
Mhm.
I think it, and it's so brave to sit if you've never done it before, just asking for help. And okay, you take that first step, and then you got to go sit in there, or then you got to go get on a Zoom, and then and that's another thing. And then they start asking questions, and you're like, I don't think I want to go that deep. I don't.
Uh-huh.
So it's like you said, it's that like, okay, I got help. I'm trying to get help, and then I got to keep showing up for myself.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother beast.
Oh, yeah.
No, I like your with sports. It is, and it's getting more and more talked about, and I hope that it never dies. That we get kind of embedded in us that you got to be tough, you got to be strong, and whether it's implicit or implicit, kind of implied that that means like showing no weakness, and
Yes.
emotion normally is tied to that, whether they try to do that or not.
Yeah.
Um, and like you said, it can be a superpower. I was the exact opposite where I didn't show. And so, but again, that can come off even worse. I can be perceived as someone that doesn't care or
Mhm.
I'm not engaged when really it's just like, I'm not showing, it's like a poker face. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not showing how I feel. And it can have just as big as implications. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. I do.
Yeah.
There's just like, so, no, 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 no. We got to talk to our audience, man. You got me fired up. All right. Let's see. Okay. So, your Iowa experience, I still want to get a little bit of time talking about you spending your year at LSU,
Yeah.
how that came about, your podcast, things of that nature. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I had spent 4 years at Iowa. I went from a walk-on, got a full ride, played all 4 years. It was this incredible career I could have never even dreamed of. It was insane. Um,
Yeah.
and towards, I would say, before my senior season at Iowa, I kinda went back and forth because we were granted our COVID year, and I had this 5th year of eligibility, and I am just a huge traveler, and I was like, "I've lived within an hour of where I grew up for my entire life." And I was like, "I
Yeah.
wanna use my 5th year to get a different experience. I wanna go somewhere, meet new people, I wanna live somewhere new." So, when my senior season at Iowa ended, I entered the portal, and I went from my one Power 5 offer at Iowa as a walk-on to I had 40 emails in the first 2 hours of Division I schools offering me full rides. And I was
Wow.
like, "Oh my." And the craziest part was the first school that reached out to me was the team that won the Natty that year. And I was just like, "What is going on? This is" so transfer portal experience for me was unreal. And
Yeah.
just loved I talk about the connection. I loved getting to talk to coaches and talk about, what they think I can bring to the team, what their teams are like. I made so many connections in that time in the portal. Um, Went on a visit to LSU and fell in love with the campus, with mainly the coaching staff, with the team. Again, the people really sold me.
Yeah.
Committed to LSU, and I moved down there a month after I committed. So
Oh,
I
wow.
was at LSU January to December of 2024,
Okay.
and it was very fast. I got my master's in a year's time, and I squeezed it in, and we went on a foreign trip that summer. We went to Turkey, and we went to Italy, and we went to all these places, and it was the best year of college volleyball for me.
Wow.
Most transformative year, I would say, of my life. I was away from home, away from my family. I was around completely new people, and
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing people from my high school walking to class, and I was in a really great place mentally. I immediately got into therapy down there with one of our therapists. I think that was the most me I had ever been in my college career, and I think that made my time and my relationships so much more fruitful and
Yeah.
enjoyable and fulfilling, and I think and that's the hard part is I look back at my time at Iowa and I'm like, "Oh, but, like, I had some incredible teammates and incredible coaches, but nothing has been the same as that year at LSU." And, uh, sucks that I had 1 year, and I just went back, which this is a whole 'nother thing of being done. I went back and watched the girls play for the
Yeah.
first time, and I sat in the stands, and I was crying, and I sobbed the entire time I was there. I have literally videos of me with tears in my eyes, when the national anthem played, because the girl whose hand I held during the national anthem, I'm not holding her hand, I'm watching her with someone else, and
Yeah.
I the coaches all came up to me, and I remember I looked at my head coach and I cried, and I was like, "I'm so mad that I only got 1 year." And it was the best year, and I'm so mad, like, I would do anything to get a day or one more post-match dance party or whatever it may be, like, I would do anything, and I think that has been the hardest part of this transition being done, is that
Yeah.
year at LSU, which was my last year and a really fast year and all these things, that was what I ended my career on, and
Yeah.
granted so kick-ass, so awesome that, like, that's what I end my college career with, but also
Yeah.
I think made it so much harder.
No, you're like finally getting there. You're like, I can't, I figured it out. Whatever cheat
Yeah,
code that is, we got it. We got it figured out. You finally got the trip. You talk about, things coming together. You finally got that trip. It was with the right group. It was just
yeah.
how it needed to happen and all that. And then it's like, hey, it's time to be done, you
No,
know?
exactly, exactly.
Also, like you talking about seeing your sport for the first time, like outside of it. And I talk about that all the time. We just talked about it on the lap. I mean, I cannot explain that out of body experience. It's
Yeah.
And you even bring up better details, like, not only watching somebody else maybe in your own jersey or, the people you love doing what you love, but, like, even down to the where you used to stand before the national anthem. I mean, like, I don't know how to explain it, and it's like you're angry, you're sad, you're so happy, you're like you said, "I just could have one more time where I could be out there," and it's how do you explain that to somebody that's like, "Well, you're here." I don't know how to explain it's not. It'll
Yeah.
never you
I
just get chills going down your spine.
yeah, I just had my first so I actually went back to an LSU game first, and I just went back to an Iowa game for the first time.
Yeah,
And again, didn't think the Iowa one would hurt as much as the LSU one. The LSU wound is very fresh.
yeah,
And I went back to Iowa, and my freshman year at Iowa, we got a brand new arena. And I remember
mm,
when I walked in this arena and looked around, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is
yeah,
incredible, and this is, like, my dream," and all these things. And I remember the first game that we played in Extreme Arena, um, it's so weird to me, but, like, I felt like the national anthem was the one time where, like, I'm swaying back and forth and I just didn't think, and I looked at the flag and I was always just like, "What a blessing it is to be in this moment, to be in this jersey," like, you know how many kids would kill to stand out here in my jersey even just looking at the flag, like, it was incredible.
yeah,
So, I was back at the arena in the stands for the first time, seeing, like, the announcers and the trainers are running up to me like, "You're back! Like, welcome home, we missed you." Because I spent 4 years there, and it was
right,
so I get back, I'm standing there, and I'm not emotional. I'm like, "You know what? Like, I'm so happy to be back. I'm so proud. I'm alumni, 4 years, yada, yada." And we all stand, and the place goes silent, and I look at that flag, and I start sobbing. I'm just
oh,
like,
Bailey.
I remember when I was 20 feet that way, standing on the court for the first time, like, "Oh my gosh, I'm living my dream." And every single game, it would always hit me at the national anthem. That was the one time, and it was just like
Yeah,
and so being back in there and watching the national anthem, and that was when it hit me. I was like, "Wow, I'm never gonna be on that court in that jersey with that feeling ever again." Like, it does not feel the same in the stands. It does not feel the same
yeah.
ever. Like, something as like, oh, it was whew, that moment was when it really hit me, and I was like, "Oh, man, this is like" and I caught myself, like, swaying with my hands behind like, the exact same thing I've done all of my college career when I stand there for the national anthem, and I was like, "This is a very weird moment," and it was yeah, like, I
I get
can't.
to I every time I thought I processed it, my sister, she continued to play.
Yeah,
And so going to her is I'm like, "Dude, you gotta be kidding me. Come on, man." Every time I'm like, "Okay, we've moved on," and I'm like,
yep,
and I'm obviously so happy for it, and, like, I can't you're somebody related to too, so that also brings another type of emotion to it, but,
yes.
um, and still, it's just like and we got to play with each other growing up, so I was like, "Can
Mhm,
I just sit out there with you, like, on I don't even have to be playing, like, let me just sit out there with you again," or
yeah.
something like that, and it's like, you just can't. You just don't get those, but it's fine. We're fine. We're healing, okay?
Yeah, but it's, like, it's a healing process. And again, like, I
Oh,
talk
100%.
about struggling to describe my feelings in the beginning. I'm, like, 5 years deep in therapy, can't describe my feelings. And it's like 'cause not only is, like, post-grad is a tough transition as is, which I
Right.
think that even doesn't get talked about enough, like, even if you're not a student athlete, post-grad life is hard. Like,
Yeah.
your 20s are hard, that's a whole different oh my gosh. But,
Yeah.
um so then you also add in the sports side of it, and I'm like, "Man, going through post-grad and the loss of your sport and all of those things at once is just" I p I think you saw this TikTok, but I posted a TikTok, and it was like, "It's the most mixed emotions, I can't describe how I'm feeling." Like, 1 second, I'm like, "I don't have to do preseason conditioning," but then I'm like, "Man, I'm
Right.
team." And I remember when I posted that video, it was like on a whim, I was like, "You know what? Someone out there might relate to this." And
Yeah.
that's one of those videos where, like, to this day, people are still reposting it. People are still
Yeah.
commenting, and they're like, "Feel this. This is so real." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is such a thing that people don't talk about." And I didn't even think that many people would relate to that video. And it
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was the craziest thing, and it's so tough.
No, I like when you share things on social media because and it's the same thing with when I started opening up a little bit more about my
Yeah.
struggles. It was like cringy, but then it was, oh, wait, people do relate to that. Somebody, at least one other person has felt that. And getting more and more, and whether people just, I'm sure you get the same thing, reach out to me privately, on DM and share their story, or say it in the comments. And I'm just like, a little community. I love you guys, and it helps to know that um, being a little vulnerable helps someone else know that they're not alone in those, whether it's a happy feeling or bad. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm like, I don't want to be doing those sprints again, but like, I would do another team dinner. Like,
Right? No, actually, and it's so funny, like, um, even so many of my teammates had come to me like, "Bailey, like, you're living the dream life, and you're
yeah,
traveling, and you have a big girl job, and da da da," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I just want, like, one more Jimmy John's on the bus." Like, what? Like, I get it, but, like, you're living my dream sometimes, like, it's been so funny, like, when they say stuff like that, and I even said this to the coach, I'm like, Tanya at LSU, when we would win, she comes in the locker room and, like, dances, and we all
yeah.
celebrate, and they've post the videos on Instagram, and I'm like, "I was in those videos. I'm not." Like, I just wanna see her come in hitting the Dougie one more time, like, it's stuff like that that, like, it's so I'm such a emotional girly when it comes to that stuff.
No, 100%. I still get chills. I watch things on social media. I'm like, dang. But it's good. And I'm like, yeah, the same thing. People, oh, you got it all figured out. I'm like, come on, we'll switch lives.
Right, right. Little do you
Like,
know.
I'm trying my best, all right? We're trying. Well, can we backtrack a little bit and talk about your podcast? Because what made you start that in sports and wanting to talk to other athletes as well?
Yeah, so when I went on my visit to LSU, I had expressed so during my time at Iowa, I took a podcasting class and I had posted an episode and it was pros and cons of being a Big Ten athlete. And I posted that episode with the podcasting class, and that kind of sparked my whole wow, I think these conversations are really important and I think it can help someone. And
Yeah.
I would have loved to hear this my freshman year or whatever it may be. So then I had expressed that to one of the LSU coaches. So on my visit, they took me to the podcast studio they had at LSU. And she was like,
Mm,
"This is something that we can help you with." And I was like, "Whoa."
yeah.
So when I got to LSU, I met with the like head of kind of the LSU creative and started talking about it. And essentially, LSU said that they would do everything. And I just had to sit and talk to a mic.
Okay.
So they edited it, they added the music, they started the cameras, they pressed record, they did everything. I just had to come and talk and bring a guest if I wanted. And I was
Hmm.
like, "Let's do it." Like, you're
Yeah.
taking all of the hard stuff out, and I just get to have conversations like this sounds like the best thing ever.
Right.
So kinda opened up, like, I started having conversations with, his name's Cody. He was the head at the time. I believe he's at USC now. Um, Started having conversations about what I wanted this podcast to look like. What do I wanna talk about? What do I want it to include? And I just said I wanted to create a safe space for athletes. I want athletes to come in and just talk.
Yeah.
And we can talk about your favorite recipe, we can talk about your injury, we can talk about your favorite song. I don't care. I just
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
I wanted it to be a place where fans can come and not just or anyone can come and not just have to hear the athlete talk about their sport. I want it to be about the athlete and
Yeah.
and all those things. So, because I feel like a lot of news articles and whatever don't talk about the actual human, they talk about the stats and the volleyball and the sport, and I'm like, I wanna get
Right.
to the human. So, that was kinda what drove that podcast, and I had some incredible guests and, brought a bunch of my teammates on. I actually had some people who I didn't really even know that then became friends from the podcast, and
Yeah.
it was just a really, really great opportunity to just not only, like, learn and meet people, but just get to share all these stories because everyone's story is so different, even though we're all athletes and we think that, like, "Yeah, we're all athletes, woo," but everyone has their own hardships, so I loved unpacking that. So that was a really huge part of going to LSU was getting that opportunity, and yeah, that was a really, really fun part of my career.
That's I love how you talk about sharing and other people's stories. It's
Yeah,
such a big reason why I do it. I'm like,
100%.
just like not only like-minded, but getting to know people on a deeper level and like
Yes.
their you get to see no matter what level, kind of through social media or like what was your career like? What were those good times, those bad times like, and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever do it again?
The podcast?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've actually I've debated starting a podcast. Um,
Okay.
actually, I've had lots of, people that are like, "Hey, are you gonna start up your podcast again?" And I haven't gotten around to it with my job, um,
Yeah.
but I could definitely see myself doing it again for sure.
Hey, you got a loyal subscriber right here, so you just turn on the camera.
Yes!
I got you. Oh gosh. Okay. Now let's get into Bailey stepping into life after sports. What was the end of their career in LSU and knowing maybe it's time I need to look outside of volleyball?
Yeah, that was my whole last year, my last season at LSU. I you could ask me one day what I wanted to do after, and I would tell you I wanted to play pro. And
Yeah.
you could ask me the next day, and I'd be like, "I don't know." And you could ask me the next day, and I'd say I wanted to coach. So, that entire kind of season at LSU, I was like, "I'm gonna play pro or I'm gonna coach." And
Mm,
so my coaches were reaching out, kind of figuring out if there were coaching positions that would be open, kinda letting people know, like, "Hey, she wants to coach."
yeah.
And also putting out feelers for me to play pro. And as the season went on, my body was the like, uh, LSU's season was the first season that I ran a 5-1, which is basically I don't come off the floor, I'm the only setter for the whole
Yeah.
so, the oldest and roughest my body had been, most I had and I was like, "Oh my gosh." So, my body was just put through it, and typically when you play professionally as a setter, that is the system you run, is you typically run a 5-1. And so that year, as it went on, I was like, "God, like, my body is not doing well." I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't know if I want to put this much time into taking care of my body and have my body hurt this bad all the time to play."
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a really tough realization I had was like, "Okay, I thought I was gonna keep playing after this, but I'm not. And
Yeah.
my body can handle it, and I don't think my love is there as a player to put the time and energy into professional that I should." So, had that realization, was like, "All right, so this is, like, really gonna be it."
Mhm.
And started exploring coaching. And as my time came to an end, like, was obviously super emotional, sobbing, was a wreck. And the coaches were all really supportive. And I remember I sat down in my end of season meeting with the coaches. And again, this staff is incredible. I love them so dearly.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember saying, like, I don't think I'm gonna play pro. I think I want to coach. And then they were like, okay, well, like, what do you want your life to look like? I was like, oh, well, I'm so excited to finally kinda have my life back and travel and have this time to see my family, and they looked at me and they're like, "And you wanna coach?" And I was
Right, right,
and they were like, "Bailey, like, it locks you down. Like, you think you have time now, or you think you're gonna have time, you're gonna have less time."
right.
And so that was then the realization of, "Okay, well, my plan B probably isn't the right plan for what I wanna do after volleyball's done."
Yeah.
So, then I had graduated, things had ended, and I spent New Year's in Europe with my best friend for 2.5 weeks. And that was,
Wow.
like, the first thing I had done when I was done, and that was a really big eye opener for me of, like, life outside of volleyball, and I didn't have, like it was the first kind of realization of, like, "Okay, I'm not going back to something." Like, I'm not going back to campus. I'm not going back to 6 a.m. practices. Like, this is my life, and I just have to figure out what I want. So that was
Yeah.
a really, really great trip for me, and then came back and started having conversations about this internship with League One Volleyball. And I had all
Mm.
these job conversations, which these had actually all kinda started up before I went to Europe,
Okay.
and it was at the Final Four, and having all these conversations of, like, coaches being like, "Oh, you wanna come coach with us?" Or clubs being like, "Hey, like, come work for our club," and all these things in volleyball, and I was like, "Man, like, none of these things are really like, being in the volleyball world is gonna be tough not playing anymore," so I was like, "I wanna make sure I find the right job."
Yeah.
In League One volleyball, I'd kind of been connected with really well, and someone had approached me and was like, "Hey, if you wanna come be an intern, it's remote, it's not crazy hours, and eventually, like, if you like it, we could find like, we could create a role for you."
Wow.
It's like, "You know what? If, like, I can get, like, 3 months of just an internship where, like, I'm gonna have money, but I kinda get time with my family, I get to go visit my friends, I get to travel, I kinda get to have this life I've been craving."
Yeah.
So I did that internship, and come end of March, they were like, "Hey, we wanna create this role for you. What do you want it to be?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy."
Wow.
So, created this role of it's remote, I'm gonna travel, I get to work with college athletes and college volleyball players,
Yeah.
and I get to kinda make it what I want it to be. I got to pick my job responsibilities and my job title and all this stuff and basically lay it out to, "Here's what I want my job to be," and they said, "Great, you got it." And beginning of it was like April 3rd, I think, my job officially started, and it was full time, and
Wow.
yeah, it was the craziest roller coaster. I didn't like, the job didn't exist. I didn't even know the job existed. It wasn't really an option in my brain. But
Yeah.
being able to stay in the volleyball world with the people and the connections and the sport that I love while getting to travel and do all these things and have time with my family and not miss all those moments was like, is the perfect scenario for the life that I wanna live right now. Like, I want to have
Yeah.
that freedom that I craved. Like, for example, my birthday's always been in October. I've never been able to, like, go on a trip for my birthday. So this year, I'm going on a road trip to Colorado and Wyoming, and I'm gonna see all the fall colors, and I'm gonna do this stuff, and it's, like, so weird because 'cause I've never been able to. I went
Yeah.
and tailgated at an Iowa football game and had the best time ever. I've never been able to do that. So, the job literally
Yeah.
all just kinda worked out to me kind of healing through this post-grad life and getting to kinda have the life that I desired while I was an athlete.
Yeah.
So,
No, I like that you talk about it. I wanna talk a little bit more about your job, but
yeah,
the getting those experiences because in sports, and you might have experienced that or, know people have, you're just so used to saying, "No, I can't go to this,"
yeah,
or, "I wasn't able to attend this." You miss a bunch of big family things, friend things,
mhm,
life things, even, birthdays sometimes, and
yeah,
it's like but in the moments, like, it can be like, but you're just like, I'm used to it. And most people in your life are used to you saying having to say no or like, "Oh, she can't come because of blah, blah, blah."
yeah,
And then afterwards, you're like, "Okay, but now I want that back. Now I get to celebrate and I wanna get to experience those things." And I'm so glad you're getting to do those
mhm,
and not kinda just saying, "Well, I never got to go to football again," like, Well, now you can get to
yeah,
do it and experience those things, and, I hope other former and current athletes get to do that as well, whether it's something like that or maybe something even more little, but
yeah.
you deserve some you time. So, I love that. Okay, talk to me a little bit about what, um because you still are you still doing a little bit of coaching from what I
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you still get to incorporate that? Is that still fulfilling that cup as well? Is that something you wanna keep doing?
Yeah, so that was on top of my job that I started when I was an intern. I also started coaching a 14-year-old club volleyball team. And I
Okay.
was just an assistant, and it's funny, so my boss at League One is the head coach of this team. She's
Uh,
also the person who, when I was in high school, kinda was like, "You can play Division One and be incredible," and she helped me get recruited, she helped me get through the transfer portal, like, she's always just kinda been there supporting me.
so she's come back in your story a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah, so, like, helped me get recruited to Iowa, cheered me on, helped me get through the transfer portal, cheered me on to LSU, and then I left and she was like, "Let's go League One volleyball," and I was like, "Woo!" So, then she'd asked me to be an assistant, and at first I was like, "I don't know what my job looks like, I don't wanna say yes," and then when I found out
Mm,
all of this was working out, I was like, "You know what? I talk about wanting to coach, and I had coached during my time as an athlete, but I was like,
mhm.
let's see how this goes." And I remember at first it was really tough because I was like, I just wanna play, and I just it's hard
Yeah.
to be in practice and whatever, and there would be times where she'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna create a scout team, you wanna play?" And I was like, "Yes," or like whatever it was.
Yes, I do. Give me my
Yeah,
shoes.
and I was like, "My knee pads, I got 'em in the truck." I have them outside, I don't know why, like, but
Your
it
hair is
was
already up.
yeah, yeah, but I think the best part is, I also ended up, like, playing in a grass volleyball tournament with some other athletes who were just done, and
Yeah.
so I started to also find ways to play that I loved, but I always felt like even when I would go and play grass volleyball, I always felt like one of the parts of playing volleyball that I loved was the IQ, like,
Mm,
being a setter and the mental side and all of those things, and I felt like that was just an itch that wasn't getting scratched for me until I started coaching. And
mm.
when I got into coaching, I was like, I love that I am like impacting these kids' lives and using my IQ that I have to teach these kids. And it was a really, really like, I think that also really helped me in my healing journey of being done with athletics. And I actually, at the end of the season, I ended up getting a couple letters from the girls. And one of the consistent things that all of the girls said was, "Thank you for helping me realize I can have fun while playing volleyball."
Oh,
And
wow.
I was just like, of course, I'm sobbing, like, crying, but I think that I wanted to be the coach that I always wish I had when I was younger, and so
Yeah.
I think that using the IQ and getting to kind of go on this new journey and be able to really dive into coaching was the best thing that could have happened for me coming out of my sport. I always knew I love it. I obviously thought I was gonna play in college, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna coach club, like, I don't wanna deal with these kids." And now,
Yeah, yeah.
like, I'm literally gonna go drive and watch one of them play in their high school game tonight. Like, I love these kids, and it's just yeah, coaching has been a huge, huge part of the healing process of being done with athletics, and I don't think I expected it to be as impactful as it was for me because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went into it with, like, I wanna impact these kids and I wanna do whatever, and then it ended up really impacting me the most, I feel like. So, yeah, coaching was a huge still is a huge part. I'm now coaching most of the same girls this next year in 15s. That'll
Oh,
start
amazing.
in January, like December, January, so, yeah, definitely big, big part of my healing process.
I mean, I've enjoyed the, how you've been incorporating the sport a little bit in your life and how, you know, and your mission behind coaching, right? You wanna make sure that you're impacting these lives and, making a coach that you wish you had or maybe emulating one that you had in your kind of your own light. So I I enjoy that. You gotta find that path, right? It might not be coaching, it might be something else, but a lot of times we can kind of steer far away from it and like out of sight, out of mind. But sometimes we gotta let it in our lives healthily. And
Yeah.
whether it's coaching or maybe a sport or maybe, I don't know, there's outlets. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's finding a way to play again, but we
Yeah.
can still have the sports in our life. Okay.
Yeah.
So before I have you here too long, I got our fast break section for you, and then we'll end on a question or two.
Okay.
So you have time. Stay with us. So this section is called fast break. It's super simple. You just answer. You can't think about anything. Okay, just off the top of your head. All right.
I'm nervous about my responses. Sometimes my first instinct's scary. Okay.
All
All right.
right. Favorite LSU memory.
The Europe trip.
Ah, good one. One teammate you could always count on.
One?
Mhm.
I'm gonna break the rules. I'm gonna say my seniors at LSU. So Jade, Maddie, and Rumor. We were all our little crew.
Okay. All right. All right. One rule break is accepted. If you could replay one game, which would it be and why?
Oh, oh, can I pick one at each school? Is that
Sure.
allowed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's allowed.
Um, at LSU, we were at Auburn. We were not expected to win. I may have had a slight concussion Um, one of the best games I've ever played, so much fun, and we ended up winning. Uh,
Oh,
for Iowa, I don't remember what I wanna say it was my junior year. Michigan came to us. We ended up reverse sweeping them. I had some, like, crazy plays where I was like, "Bailey, who are you?" Uh,
right.
would totally play that game again, 1 and 5 at home. So much fun. Those are for sure my 2 games.
This must have been electric.
Oh,
All
they're
right.
so fun.
Go-to hype song.
Yeah, by Usher.
Good one, good one.
I go with that song because I always say that if, like, I were to enter a room and every time I entered a room a song would play, it would be that song. Like, I walk into a room, it's like, "Peace up, A-Town, bump," like, yeah, yeah, vibes are up, that's my song.
Oh, good to know, Bailey. All right, finish your sentence. I'm not done because.
I'm not done because I love the people.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Enough said.
I love my people.
All right. Fill our audience in. I always ask our guests one question just to close us off.
Mhm.
If you could give little Bailey a piece of advice or something that you'd want former or current athletes to know or that you needed to hear, what is something you could share?
My go-to that I this is fresh in my brain because I just did a little motivational video for a high school volleyball team. Uh, quote that really sits with me is, "The words you speak become the house you live in."
Mm,
So the words you say on text to your teammate, in the car with your mom, whatever it may be, the words you speak become the house you live in. So, be very aware of the words you're saying to yourself in your brain and the words you are putting out into the world.
mic drop, Bailey. That's amazing. I need to hear that still.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
there anything else you need or would like to leave our audience with?
Um, I just wanna, like, hype you up. Like, what you are doing and your account and your this podcast and everything that you're doing is so like, it's been so impactful for me getting to watch the videos and, like, feel like, "Oh, like, I'm not alone because of what you put out and all the things that you do with Purpose After Sport." So I appreciate what you're doing, and I hope that more people the amount of people that I'm like, "Go look at this page, go look at this page, I promise it'll help, like, you should follow," like, I I love what you're doing, and I am just grateful that there are people who are as incredible as you and are as passionate as you and that want to help people in this space because there are few and far between with the post-athlete life that genuinely want to talk about it and help people through it. So I am very, very happy that our paths have crossed. I'm happy that you are continuing to make an impact, and I'm just happy to stay connected as we continue to navigate this super fun post-athlete life.
Dang, Bailey, how am I gonna top that exit? Now I'm gonna be the first one to use these tissues back here. I know you can't see them, but I'll save it for off camera. Jeez. Oh gosh. Thank you for being on there. I'm not joking,
Yeah.
guys. If you want someone to light up your day, follow Bailey on social media. She's amazing. Um, thank you for coming on, spending time with us. If you like episodes like this, make sure that you like and subscribe. We will be back. Thank you guys.